Hey everyone. So this is an intro video of how we can set up auth in your MCP server using Hono MCP. And today I have Max from Stitch to guide us through that process. And Stitch, if you don't know, is like an auth provider, and it's like a killer provider for like providing authentication in MCP space. So that's why like they have to be over here in this video. So Max, come on, introduce yourself and like what's Stitch?
Yeah, thank you. So my name's Max. I'm a developer at Stitch. We're a consumer identity and access management provider. So any website out on the internet, you're going to have users. You want to know who those users are, and you want to figure out how they authenticate to your system. And there's many different ways that a user can authenticate these days. They have passwords, they have email, they have OAuth, they have biometrics and WebAuthn and MFA and all of these acronyms and security standards that you need to integrate with. Stitch helps make that really easy. We give you a little widget that you can drop in and configure your login flow, and it's very plug and play. So you can pick whatever you want. And Stitch also now helps you become an identity provider. So previously we were taking all of these login information in, identity from other systems in. But when you're an identity provider, you can push your identity information out over OAuth. And that's really exciting today because that allows you to run an MCP server. And it gives a way for people to share data, identity and access data with AI agents and build a lot of cool experiences with that.
Sounds amazing. Really excited to deep dive into this. Like I was testing all these auth providers when I was working on Hono MCP's auth functions, and I really like the flexibility that Stitch provide overall. Like I've got like this whole tweet regarding this. So that's why like I just like reached out to Max like, hey, what's are you guys free for a video? So guys, let's dive in this whole thing. We have already got some samples in a repo, but this one is for like integrating with Stitch. So Max, you want to take the lead?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do the whole screen. And so I'm in the Hono MCP examples directory in the simple auth Stitch example, and I'm going to take you through setup using Stitch. So we've got this .env.example file here, and I'm going to go in and turn this into a regular .env. And then over in the Stitch dashboard, I came in here and I created a new test project already, and we're using our consumer authentication product. So if you're following along, it would be create project down here, and then consumer authentication. And so we've got our project ID, our unique project domain, and then you're going to need the public token down here. And then we're also going to want to come in on the front-end SDK section and hit Enable SDK in the test environment. And now everything's turned on. And then for later, for the MCP part of the demo, you're going to want to go into Connected Apps, and you're going to want to enable dynamic client registration. And then we also need to know where the identity provider component is going to be hosted, so Stitch can direct you to, or your users to that location. And so for us, this is going to be on localhost at the IDP page. So this should be, sir. Great.
Yeah.
Localhost 3000/IDP. And we'll go and we'll hit save there. And now if I come into the terminal, pnpm run dev. So we have two things that we care about. We have a login component here. This is kind of the front door to your application. Right now it's set up to use email magic links, but it can be set up to use all sorts of different methods, OAuth, SMS, like whatever you name it. So check out the documentation if you want to do something else. And this is on the login page over here. And so you see import the Stitch login component, and then we have the config, the product that we want to use, and also where we're going to send users after they go through the magic link flow. So this is this localhost authenticate location. And on this page, the authenticate location, let's show the flow first and then talk a little how it works. .com mail. So this is going to email me a link, and that link is going to redirect me back to the application. And so when I get redirected back, that URL is going to have a code in it that we're going to pull off of the window query params, and then we can authenticate the token, and this will tell Stitch who the user is, at which point we'll activate this on login complete hook. On login complete is going to take us back to this page right here. Now the second page we have is that IDP page. This is another component. And so if we look over in here, this is the identity provider component. And what this will do is handle an OAuth authorization flow. So right now we don't have a properly configured OAuth authorization flow. We're missing our client ID. But when we go through the MCP flow later, this will be properly configured and you'll get to see it a little bit more there.
That's great, Max. So I will take over from here, and I will show you how to set up MCP and the auth stuff on the server side. So let me share the screen. So the idea is that your front end would be like a separate one, or maybe like you want to sort of host the MCP inside your Next.js app only. That's where like once you have authenticated from Stitch, those users can like use the identity provider to further give access to the MCPs. Hopefully I'm saying this correctly, right? Or I'm like just gibbering right now.
All good.
Okay. Let's just start from scratch. So this is the routes.ts file where we are going to set up Hono and the MCP. As you can see, like this is like your standard Next.js and Hono app where you have like a $route file so that you can catch all the routes. And over here we have got like an mcp.ts file. Let me just make this things bigger. Too big. Yep. This is like your MCP server. Like you can see this is like a really shining or like really great MCP server over here. And we are just importing it from this file. And as you have seen, like Max set up some env variables, so we are using those over here. So this is like the domain where your Stitch application is hosted, so like where all the authentication stuff is happening. This is your project ID, and we are like using this logic to validate the JWT token. So this is like just a function to validate your JWT token. That's like the basic idea of these two files. Now let's get inside the code. So you set up your Hono app, you have to enable CORS so that like multiple people, like multiple websites can sort of query the MCP stuff. That's why we have enabled org to like everyone, and to get the tokens and all that stuff, you need to enable credentials. Now inside the route, so this is like a simple MCP auth. There is like two. One is like a simple one and one is a custom one. The custom one is like you have to set up everything. So like right now, like all of this is done by Stitch. So like registering a client and giving the tokens and the dynamic parts of all the OAuth 2.1 spec. I guess you should have like shown like once the MCP inspector is registered in the Stitch, that's like shown in the connected apps. We can show it later in the video. So if all that is done by an external one, you can just use the simple auth provider. This is like good for all the third-party auth providers. Yeah, so the idea is just pass the domain where the auth provider is serving your IDP stuff, and the resource URL is basically where you're hosting your MCP server. So in our case, we are like @/MCP. So it will be localhost 3000/MCP. We do like a basic auth, like this is like a basic middleware for validating GWT token. This is coming from Hono MCP only. And this is like the common stuff for setting up an HTTP streamable transport with your MCP. You have seen a lot of this. So yeah, that's it. This is why like simple auth is so easy. This is just one file. Let's see this in action. So I have my server running, and let's just start the model context inspector over here. I really need an aliases for this. Okay, let's see. Let me bring this to... Okay. Can we see this?
I only see the editor.
Okay, so here is our inspector running, and let's just connect with our localhost 3000. The best way to sort of debug these situations is just use the OpenAuth settings thing. You can just clear the OAuth state and either use a quick OAuth flow or a guided one, which basically just takes you from each step individually. Let's just go through this so that we can actually see this in action. Yep, this is the page which Max was telling us about, the IDP page. You can see it over here. It's telling me like what's the permissions that's requesting, and I can either allow it or deny it. If I allow it, back here, you got the access token, right? It's working over here, so you can see all the green ticks. And now let's try to connect from here. It's working. You can just list the tools. Yep, you got it. And as you see, like this happens automatically, but behind the scene, if you go into the Stitch dashboard, in the Stitch dashboard, you can see like the connected apps. These are all the apps that are connected with this MCP server, or like this, these are the like clients basically, which have kind of registered themselves so that they can authenticate your users through this. And over here, we have just set up like an MCP inspector. If you go over here, you can check out the details. It's a third-party public client, and yeah, this is like the callback URL. If you check, this is like the cursor one. Cursor has also registered this. I was like just testing this before this video. And yeah, that's it. Like that's how you set up auth in Hono MCP. Hope it's easier for a lot of you guys. And yeah, thanks to Stitch and everyone in the community for their support. Anything you want to add, Max?
Yeah. Could you show us how we could access that identity data inside a tool call?
Oh yeah, that. Basically, this is the token that we're getting. So once we have validated it, we can just pass it in the context. So you can just access it like basically over here, result equals to c.get. I might need to add the types for this, but this should practically work. I will need to like set up the env stuff over here for this, but yeah. And usually like the flow would be you create, instead of like we having a global instance of MCP, you can just wrap this into like a function. So that will be like a function create export function, create MCP, where you're just returning this MCP server.
Oh, and then this function, this would take in that result.
That context.
From before.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it has access to who the user is and who the client is.
Exactly. Like there's a multiple ways of doing this, but like this is like the most easiest and the common one. You can use async storage and all those different solutions. But yeah, all you need to do is like, instead of importing that, you can just create MCP and just pass in the context. Simple. Yeah. Yeah, so hope you guys like this and let us know. And if you have any issues, be sure to tag Max and me in any of the PRs or on Twitter.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I had a blast. Really been enjoying building in the Hono community. Very much love Hono. Write once, run it anywhere.
Thank you, Max. And everyone, see you guys. Bye. I don't know, like, this is like, that's why I'm saying I don't do this shit. Let me just like stop the recording. Our streamable HTTP transport works with the Sentry's observability stack. So if you want to add observability in your MCP, all you need to do is like, if Sentry is set up, you can just import from Sentry wrap MCP server with Sentry, and you can just do this. That's it. That's all it takes to add observability using Sentry in your MCP. Yeah, that's all.